This is episode 39 of Oluswole, the podcast on the budget. I'm excited to welcome our guest. He is an entrepreneur and a blockchain enthusiast. Oba was good.
What's going on? What's going on? That is quite the intro, to say the least. Quite the intro.
I had to show out for the man. And I
So,
appreciate you for coming on today.
no, I'm happy to, man. It's supposed to happen a long time ago. Been listening to this for a while now, and I know you've been pretty consistent. It's really impressive. I know a lot of people start stuff, but not a lot of people keep doing things. So good stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I try. It's hard during the school year to put out episodes consistently, but I just tried to post something, whether it's like a meme on my story or a highlight. I just try to keep it active and keep it pushing. So, yeah, this is a fun thing to do for me at least. Just like starting with a bit of context as to how we met. So, we were both doing a high school program at Penn in 2019, and like we're both Nigerians, we're both from Houston, but we didn't meet through that. It was through like the program that we did in Philly with like 160 kids, and then I met you there, and then yeah, we just became friends, and then I saw you again in New York over the summer, which is pretty cool.
Yes, sir. Nah, it's interesting, man. A lot of things come back full circle, as well as like you really get to understand how small the sort of corporate business world is. Like, yeah, I mean, during orientation, I saw you, Evelyn. I don't know if you remember Evelyn, but she was also in the office. Hawin, she goes to Brown. She was also there. Amal, he was also there. So yeah, it was a lot of us. But yeah, it's good to see things come back full circle. We're all into good things.
Sir, yes, sir. It's crazy, but yeah. Um, Tell me about, you know, actually, I was actually looking at your story the other day, and I saw that you're at this. It looks like the Kid Leroy was performing on campus or something, and it looked wild. Like I saw him standing on like a railing. It was mental.
Nah, it's hilarious because that wasn't even on campus. It was at a regular venue, but he didn't really. He spent most of the time on the stage, but like the coolest parts are when he was off the stage. So for "Stay," which is like the most popular song of Justin Bieber, he was standing on like it was like a stair, like this on the rail of a stair, and like security was holding his feet extra tight, and he wanted to jump, but like they kept telling him like no, no, no. It was pretty funny. So yeah, he did like stay on that rail. And then he did this other song on like another back rail. But yeah, it was pretty wild. But great show, great performance. One thing I've been doing a lot is just going to concerts. I think it's pretty cool just getting to hear things live, as well as like it's a good way to learn about new music. I like music. And like a lot of times when you hear it live, you're like, oh wow, like that's different. Because like before the Kid Leroy show, like I kind of knew the Stay song. I don't even know the words. I just knew how it went. But now I like the songs I've been listening to. Just a bunch of Kid Leroy.
Yeah. Which songs? I'm a big fan. So which songs have you been bumping?
Interesting. Let me pull that up. I wouldn't say it's top of mind that much. Without You, that's a good one. Very sad,
Yeah,
a good one. Thousand
mm,
Miles, that's a good one. I
yeah,
feel better when I'm not sober. That one's tough.
yeah.
Tragic, that's a good one. Tell me
Love Tragic.
why, tell me why. That's a good
Yeah.
one too. For me, though, this is one that was like really surprising was the Paris to Tokyo one. I was like, the Kid Laroi on the drill.
Yeah,
I was like, chill. But when I heard it live,
yeah.
it sounded tough. Like it was insane live. When I heard like the studio version, it wasn't as insane. And then
Uh,
lastly, Let Her Go. I really like that one too. No, like if he's coming to your city, you need to be there. Like it was an experience.
Dude, he actually, because we every year in Philly we have this festival called Made in America, and it's the
Okay.
biggest music festival in Philly, and it's organized by Jay-Z, and they bring in a ton of artists. So he came as a surprise guest for that festival last year. So Justin Bieber brought him on stage, performed "Stay." It was crazy. Like
Were you there?
he's good. I was there. Yeah, I
Oh, that's
saw it.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, great performer, super talented. Like he's younger than both of us. It's wild.
Well, I'm also 19 still. I don't know his birthday though, but we're
Oh,
we're both kids. The kid Oba.
the kiddo. That's funny. When's your birthday then?
September. So I'm almost 20.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, but
That's
weeks away actually. I didn't realize we're so close.
oh wow. Well, happy birthday in advance. Right.
Amen.
Yeah, he's August 2003, so he's a little
Oh
younger.
wow, that's different. Yeah, he's like a year younger than me.
Yeah, same here. I'm August '02. So you're really interested in entrepreneurship and stuff like that. I remember one time your Instagram bio was even It was, like, so ambitious. I think that's what it was when I met you.
Shout out to Jay-Z, man. That's a good Jay-Z song right there.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you, like, where did that drive to just make things happen come from?
That's a good question. I think a multitude of sort of aspects, things like the nature and nurture question. I think naturally I always had like a bias to action whenever I'd see like problems. I want to be a solution where I can. But also like growing up, like I grew up in pretty humble beginnings. So like whether it was I was selling snacks in school in order to like be able to buy some clothes, or literally like my first quote business was I would sell coins on Madden Mobile. So this was like in middle school, and like I was pretty good at Madden Mobile, and like there's a lot of like coin farming strategies, etc. So like I would just sell coins to my friends in school. Like I was just known as the coins guy. And then another sort of little business that came out of Madden Mobile was like in Madden Mobile, there was something called leagues. You can kind of think of them as like clubs, groups, or whatever. And like every league would have like a logo, but all the logos were like trash. They were just like default logos that you could pick from in the settings and change the color of or something. But you could actually upload a logo. And one of my friends at the time, like he was trying to get into graphic design. And I was like, wait, we could probably do something here. So we used to sell like logos to Madden mobile leagues for like $4. I was also in middle
Mm.
school. It was just like a lot of very weird things. Like I wouldn't say I've run like a giant sort of business or something, but you gain a lot of sort of experiences throughout these things, right? Like understanding like building a brand, understanding marketing, understanding how to work with other people, etc. So yeah, I would say it's been a sort of a life's journey. Like I wouldn't say like I just grew up, I was born, I'm like, dang, I want to be an entrepreneur, but just like trying things here and there. Like it's for me, the most fulfilling work I've done is like work where I started and like I'm seeing the sort of impact I can have and seeing it go from like 0 to 1.
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal. I liked hearing your story there. When being an entrepreneur, do you ever how risk averse are you is what I'm trying to ask. Like when it comes to I'm sure you're not a very risk averse person if you're an entrepreneur, but like what's your level of risk tolerance, if I could ask,
Yeah, I think
in
risk is
general?
risk is a very interesting question. I think risk tolerance as far as like things like health and my well-being, like there is no risk tolerance. So like you're not gonna see me on a roller coaster. You're not gonna see me just doing unnecessary stuff. Like I'm not doing that. Like I don't even know how to swim. Like I don't even go near water. And like I'm tall, so I can stand in the water. So just like stuff like that, very on the anti-risk side. Like you're not seeing me zip lining, parachuting, etc. But I think like one place where we overestimate risk and over-index on risk is like in our personal sort of professional lives. Like by being in America, by being young, by being college educated, like you're in a position where like the worst case scenario is like a pretty good scenario. Like worst case scenario, you just go work in corporate 9 to 5 and make like 80, 90K a year. Like that's not like that bad of worst case scenario. As well as like you can always try again at whatever you do. Like most entrepreneurs, they don't succeed in like their first ordeal. Like they reiterate, they build new things. So I would say like that's kind of how I one define risks. And like as far as my perspective generally, I think one thing I'm trying to do is like one, build out competency. I think like all the great entrepreneurs have some form of core competencies, whether it's like Elon with his storytelling ability and his engineering ability, whether it's like, Jobs, Gates with their design and just their innovative brains as well as, technical capability. So really just building out my core capabilities. I think so far I've definitely been able to see like I'm a better than average storyteller. So like trying to maximize an index on that and finding opportunities to idealize on that. But you can tell stories, but you actually need something to sell. You actually need a story to tell, right? So really just looking out for opportunities, whether it's like, oh, I met somebody and like they're working on something cool. And I'm like, wait, what if you framed it that way? Or whether it's just me thinking throughout my life as to like, oh, what problem exactly can I solve? So yeah, I would say like personally, I don't think like as a young person, especially while you're in college, like I don't think there really is much risk in life. Like just pass your classes, make your parents proud, and don't like go off the rails. But like if you start a business and don't get a formal job, like the worst case scenario is not too bad. It's not too shabby.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's kind of hard to not everyone is super receptive to that idea, but it's like, yeah, like you said, if you're college educated and you're out here in the US, I mean, it's not like you have a lot of opportunities and doors that are open to you automatically, which is a big privilege. So just like do what you want to do and take advantage of the things that are presented to you for sure. Wait, before we get into Head Start, were there any other ventures that you started prior to that that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I think prior to Head Start, I touched a little bit on this earlier, but first we had the Matter Mobile. We just used to sell Matter Mobile coins. So the way that would operate, so Matter Mobile is like a mobile game. So the way you kind of transfer value is like you would list a trash player for like a lot, and then I would buy the trash player. So that's like one way of transferring like value. It's like there's like some marketplace fee. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was like 2%. So that way, like you still get 98% of whatever you agreed on. So that was like the first hustle. Then we got into the Meta Mobile logos, which we explained a little bit. And then after Meta Mobile logos, we kind of expanded into like general like logos and just helping with the branding perspective. So I actually made like some banners and some logos for like quite big YouTubers. I think the biggest YouTuber is probably this channel called Cartoon Connect. We had like a couple million subscribers or something, but they make like
Oh.
funny cartoon videos, and like we helped make their banner. And yeah, I mean, I think I helped source that one as well. So that was that. And then in high school, we were selling snacks, doing things like that. Trying to think. Oh, I mean, another thing too, it's kind of a very miscellaneous hustle, but I picked up kind of like just reselling stuff in general in high school. So physical things like tickets, I think physical things became pretty annoying. So like I started honing in more on tickets. So like whenever concerts would happen or festivals, I'm the annoying scalper who's like trying to find an opportunity. It was pretty fun
Mm.
too. I think it's a good way to just learn about like risk and managing risk and building out really a portfolio of assets. It's pretty arbitrary, like it's not like stocks or something, but it's like if you have a lot of tickets, like you're trying to think like, okay, what happens here? What if Billie Eilish cancels her tour? Like, how am I positioned for that? Oh, I have 10 tickets here. Like, so I sell three today, two next week, and hold the other five, etc. So it's like it was a pretty interesting exercise. Something I still do a little bit now, but to definitely a lesser extent. Um, I think another thing that I picked up too around COVID, it was just like very much miscellaneous physical thing reselling. So like there were a lot of things that were like just out of stock, and I was able to have access to like a lot of these things via like one group I'm in, it's like a resale group. So whether it was like freezers, bicycles, webcams, just a lot of random things that we used to just resell. Like there was Jeffree Star makeup that was popping like a long time ago. Like it was literally very random. Like my parents were very concerned as to like what is all this stuff in our house. But again, it's just it really like you start thinking about supply chain, you start thinking about inventory, right? It's like, oh, I'm having this stuff coming. If I list it right now on eBay, like I don't think I'll be able to ship it on time. So maybe I want to list it when it's out for delivery, so I know worst case scenario comes tomorrow, etc. So yeah, there's a lot of like very miscellaneous things I've done. I wouldn't say anything as structured as Head Start, but I would say like a lot of the learnings are still at play, but in a very different way.
Yeah. No, that's cool to hear. I'm sure your parents are definitely wondering why they're seeing like Jeffree Star makeup palettes in your
Yeah.
bedroom. Like,
Yeah, I had it's a lot of explaining to Nigerian parents, as you know. But I mean, eventually, as like they saw it leave the house too, they're like, "Oh, okay, maybe this is kind of real."
so I know Head Start is a fellowship you started. I think this is really cool to me. I've been following it when I see the posts on LinkedIn, stuff like that. It's basically my understanding is that it's a fellowship created for college students that are trying to get into like major business industries, and you're responsible for connecting them with collegiate students who have gone or people who have gone through those industries who are usually younger. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the founding story of Head Start was me just trying to solve two problems I faced early on in my sort of college journey. I think one is like the really importance of mentorship, especially early on as a college student. So like for me, like I didn't really go to a high school where like a lot of kids went to college. So like I don't think anyone in my high school's ever went to LBW, like etc. So I didn't really just know. I didn't have like those natural mentors when I was on campus at UT. It was like, oh, this person was on the team with me, or their brother was on the team with me, their sister, their cousin, etc. So I was like, I was just having to figure it out. But I was lucky to attend like a similar camp to LBW, but at UT, which was called MFEA. My camp counselor and was an upperclassman, and like she ended up really being vital in like all of my achievements. And it's not even like I don't want to say it's like in the I don't want to say it's like indirectly, but it's like through her I found out I had to apply to clubs. I didn't even know you had to do that, and I'm sure you're aware, right? Like at a lot of these schools, if you don't get in first semester, freshman, fall, you're never getting in again. And like a lot of those clubs can really, really be helpful. And like without her, I wouldn't even have known that, right? And if I didn't know that, I couldn't apply, right? So I applied to some clubs for some of these clubs. Like I learned a lot of finance stuff, a lot of technical concepts, met people, made friends, etc. And like through all of those things coming together, I'm able to get opportunities. I was more prepared for interviews. I knew people who had already done processes, so it was like pretty expeditious on my end. I just had to, reach out to people for help. But there's a lot of people who were like, "Hey, I want to do finance." They didn't even realize the finance club application closed the third week of school. Like now you're a little bit behind. You have to work a little bit harder, right? So that was like one sort of gap there. Then the second gap I think is along the lines of professional discovery within the business world. I think it's something that like we're all facing in some way, but I don't think like a lot of people like to talk about it. But like I think most people don't want to do banking and consulting. Well, actually, I think I like to say that very confidently. Like most people don't want to do that, but it's a matter of all my friends are doing that, and like I don't really know what I want to do. So like that's what I'm gonna do, right? So after just like taking some time to think and plot, like I didn't notice any other organization that like their goal is like professional discovery within the business world. And I think like the sort of addressable market there is huge, as well as the value proposition there. Cause like as an individual, one, like you're more likely to have a more fun, more interesting internship if you know what you're getting yourself into, as well as on the company end, you're more likely to have higher retention, right? Because I think that's a big sort of struggle that a lot of people face with like diverse candidates is like retaining them. So it's not about like just attracting them. Like I think that problem's been fixed decently, but now it's like retaining them. But oftentimes like they didn't know what they signed up for because they didn't come from these corporate backgrounds. Then they end up staying for like 1 year, and then it's like now your black people percentage that was like 6% is down to 4 again, right? So rather than just building a cycle where it's not really sustaining that diverse population, by having people who've done that discovery process, they're more inclined to stay. As well as again on your end, right? Like if you've actually thought about what you want to do, you've explored the options, like you're more likely going to be fulfilled where you are because you know you've actually gone through that discovery process rather than like 3 weeks into the job, you're like, is this what I signed up for? Like, why is everyone doing this, right? Which I think a lot of people face in a lot of these popular industries. So I'll say those are sort of the two main goals we have. Then as far as like how we go about it, so like you touched on, it's kind of like a two-sided marketplace where we have our mentors who are mainly upperclassmen who've already gone through these recruiting processes, and our fellows who are mainly freshmen and sophomores who are still curious as far as what they want to do, as well as would like that help in the recruiting processes. So we do have like a mentor matchmaking process there, as well as we have sort of continuous programming that's along the lines of professional discovery and personal development. And then we also have vertical specific programming. So it's like what happens after I decide I want to do tech, right? You need to start getting on leak code. You need to start doing your PM mocks, etc. So just connecting you with the people that have already done that, showing you what they did, what was helpful, what was effective, what were their interviews like, what are the books they read, etc. We think is super helpful. It's like one, help you figure out what you want to do, and then two, serve as a launch pad to get you there. Because like it will be doing a pretty big disservice if we're like, okay, cool, now you know you want to do tech, now go figure it out, right? Like we trying to sort of own that process 0 to 1. So at a high level, I would definitely say that's what Head Start looks like as far as structure and as far as mission.
Man, that's really cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that with me and the audience. Um, I really like that second point you mentioned about giving people the opportunity to explore professionally because it's kind of hard because essentially, assuming you don't get your internship after your freshman year, right? You essentially only have your summer after your sophomore year and the summer after your junior year to decide what you want to go into. Because I feel like in order to make an informed decision, you have to really be immersed in that industry and you only get 2 shots, not even three. So I really appreciate how you guys are actively trying to get people get people who have gone through the process to expose, wet behind the ears freshmen to like the nuances of the industry and like the kind of stuff they're getting into. That's a really nice thing.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
one thing interesting too is just like the question of like what matters to people. So like a lot of people, they don't really think about that and making a professional decision, but that's actually oftentimes like more important than like what you actually want to do. So like let's say what matters to you is spending time with family, building a family, etc. Like, do you want to be an investment banker, right? So like these are things that like I've had to go through with some of our fellows and conversations I've had to have, where like they came in like, yeah, I'm really interested in finance. I think I want to do banking. And then I'm just like, okay, like what matters to you? Like, what do you think you want to really be doing like 5 years from now, as far as personally? Like, yeah, I really want to spend time with family, have a family. I'm like, yeah, you don't really see that a lot in that industry, right? Because in that industry, you're working very long hours, 80, 90 hours on bad weeks, etc. But it's like you hear that, but it's like you don't actually do the math on that. It's like, oh, if I'm working 80 hours a week, oh, even if I had a kid, like I don't think I'd be able to get them to school or put them to sleep because I'd be in the office at both of those times. So really just like putting these things in ways that are very digestible rather than just hearing the headlines, I think is a unique value proposition.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's funny you say that because I had a similar kind of experience. Because if you asked me what I wanted to do when I was 16, I was gonna be like, I probably would have said, yeah, I want to go into business. I want to become an investment banker because I always hear, oh, investment bankers make the big bucks. I didn't even know what investment banking was when I was 16. I just knew the term investment banker. And then when I got to college, I spoke to upperclassmen. I heard about what it was like. I did research into the actual industry and I went to panels and stuff. I just kind of thought, I don't think this is for me.
That's the right thing to do. I think it's weird how many people one realize that and still do it, right? So it's good that you're able to one make up that decision and then two like actually stick to your gut because I know a lot of people who like they're like, yeah, I know I'm gonna hate this, but I have to do it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And like there is a trade-off. Like in your early stage of your career, you're gonna be doing some things you don't like to do. But going into an entire industry that you know you're not going to like just for the exit opportunities, I feel like if you're passionate about something else, you'll be performing at a high level in that respective field, and you'll probably reach that exit opportunity in a different way. That's how I feel.
Yeah, 100%. I think the idea of exit opportunities is actually one of the more interesting debates and nuanced things that I think about a lot too. Because like that's what they tell me, right? The fellas are like, yeah, but the exit ops, right? But I think like
Mhm.
one, you have to like actually think about what it looks like in real life. So for example, I know like private equity recruiting for first year investment banking analysts, it started like 3 weeks ago. Like it's already started. So it's like if you wanted to do private equity, why didn't you just like work your butt off in college to go to private equity, right? Because it's not like nothing changes. Obviously, private equity is like hard to break into, but it's like it's not like you're actually going to get any experience before you have to start recruiting private equity or something, right? And then a lot of people, right, they have like unique interests. Like one of my good friends is actually really into fashion. And then she's like, yeah, like I can't get a job at a fashion company. I'm like, yes, you can. Like instead of wasting time on your banking apps, like let's lock in. Let's start networking. Let's start reaching out to past interns, see how they did it, etc. So yeah, I think it's like you have finite time. And like the more you stratify that and more you divvy it up, like the less likely you are to achieve whatever you want. So like a lot of people, banking isn't like what they want to do, but it's what they spend time and striving to get to. And then by the time like you look at the rest of your time, it's like, oh, I have like, I don't know, a couple months till I graduate. Like, how am I gonna figure that out? I guess I'm just gonna have to do banking for 2 years. So it's not like there's anything wrong with banking. It's just like understanding whether it's the right thing for you. I think that's just like a popular example because it's like something everyone wants to do.
Yeah. Especially, I'm sure a lot of business students at UFT are going into, sorry, at UT are going into like IB, I'm sure. So it's definitely popular there.
Yeah, I feel like it's every school, but yeah, we have a big IB pressure on campus. Big consulting too as well. I feel like that's most campuses though. Big IB, big consulting. And if you're doing something
Mhm.
else, you're like an outlier.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with you. But yeah, it was great hearing about Head Start. Just want to move away from that. Uh, you're Nigerian, right? We're both Yoruba. That's the ethnic
Ah,
group we're from.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you actually, I believe you spent time in Nigeria, right? You
Yeah,
speak
I was actually
Yoruba.
born in Nigeria, came to the States around grade two.
Yeah. And you said you speak Yoruba like properly.
I wouldn't say properly, but like better than like a majority of like people our generation for sure.
Mhm. That's kind of tough. Did they? Because you see it with a lot of based on my own experience as a Nigerian American and interacting with other Nigerian Americans and Nigerian British people, their parents are usually proficient in language and they speak English, but the kids only speak English because growing up they really only spoke English in the house. So for you, were your parents speaking English and Yoruba to you, or just English, and you just picked up in Yoruba?
Yeah, I think for me it was a unique case because I actually got to do a little bit of school in Nigeria. So like
Mhm.
throughout school, I mean, people would speak English. Nigeria was like a British colony, so English is like very much popular. Everybody speaks English, but it's like in school they speak some English and they sprinkle a little bit of Yoruba in there, right? So that's like a unique thing that I got to experience that was like super helpful as well as like going to church, right? In church they speak some English, but they sprinkle a lot of Yoruba in there, right? And then at home, I would say like for the most part we spoke English, but there's still a lot of things that like it just gets across a little bit better in like Yoruba. Like they say like come downstairs, it's like Coming downstairs doesn't start as good as like, what? Nisi, you see? Like, that just sounds like, it just sounds a little bit different. So at home, I'll probably say it was like 70-30, 70% being English. But like that 30% is still like, it's pretty hard to forget it all.
Man, that's tough. Yeah, I like that. I wish I could say I understand like some phrases and stuff like that and like bits and pieces, but I can't articulate in Yoruba. I can't articulate myself in Yoruba, which is not good. But man, I'm jealous though, low key. Uh,
Nah, I mean, I think it's like anything. You have to practice. So I don't know. Because I know at Penn, there's actually a lot of Nigerians. So I don't know. Y'all might have to start a Yoruba club and really get to Yoruba lessons or something if you really want it, man.
for real, man. I'm taking Yoruba this semester
Okay.
because I have a free space. So I'm using it for that. But yeah, we do have a lot of Nigerians out here. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because I was surprised. Like, there was like, because I don't know if you know Michael Preston, but
yes,
yeah, I know
yeah,
he's in like a black consulting club. I'm like, wow. Like at
yeah.
UT we have like a black business club, but like that's all. Like just showing like the fact you have a black consulting club and like it's active and engaging and like there's people in it, that means like the black business club must be like very, very active and just the black business space in general. So yeah, that's like that's good to see and good to hear about.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Like that's part of Black Wharton Consulting, which is a section of Black Wharton, which I'm on the board of.
Okay.
Uh, I I know Michael. We were in the same class we were in an 8-person class for this communication lecture that we took last semester, I believe. But yeah, he's a cool guy. Um, but yeah, it's crazy. Like a consulting club for like a black consulting club. That's not
Yeah,
normal at all, like you
that's
said. So it's
not.
kind of dope.
Yeah, and don't y'all have like a I don't know what it's called. It's like a Black Ivy League gala type vibe or something. Is that a thing?
Yeah, we have a Black Wharton Gala, but we have this like Black Ivy League business conference where we
That
bring
might be what
in
I'm thinking about. Yeah, but
yeah,
just stuff like that,
DopeCon.
man. It's amazing to see, man.
Yeah, it's dope. And it's a big event. Like people from all the Ivies come over to our campus and they see talks from industry leaders and stuff like that. So I'm experiencing my first one in person this semester, so we'll see how it goes. It should be
When
cool.
is it happening?
I need to double check the dates, but I want to say it's in the fall for sure. Maybe November, but I need to double check on that.
I might have to come by. Pretend like I go to Cornell or something.
Yeah. No, no, no. We'll slide you in for sure. I'll let you know. Uh,
Sounds good.
what's the black scene like at UT?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Honestly, I don't think I'm the best person to answer it, but I know generally like there are a lot of like black clubs, but for me, I'm just more focused on like business related stuff. So there's a lot of black clubs. Like there's a black pre-law club. Like there's a lot of like a black medicine sort of society. Like there's a lot of African American black clubs, but I'm not that engaged with them. Like to be very honest, but like the BBSA Black Business Student Association, it's a pretty lively organization. I think a lot of the time, like in a lot of our classes, like you might be the only black person, probably a little bit similar at Wharton as well. And it's like it's that one safe space where like as a freshman you might feel you can actually ask about your resume, you can actually ask about what classes to take, etc. So yeah, that's like the one sort of lively business org. I know one thing they're trying to bring back is a NABA, like National Black Accounting Association or something like that. Something along those lines. I know it used to be like pretty lively, but I think during COVID, a lot of clubs died. I don't know if it was similar at Penn. But yeah, a lot of clubs died during COVID, and I think that was one. So they're trying to pick that up. So if that gets picked up, that means there'll be like two business clubs, but kind of goes to like my point earlier, like there's no like black finance club, black consulting club, etc. But I do think like over time as the black population grows, like initiatives like that would be great, just so like people can feel more engaged, more at home for sure.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, you're also involved in a lot of business stuff in general, like you mentioned, like Texas Blockchain, University Finance Association, USIT. Like you seem to be pretty involved in like the finance business side. So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of the involvement scale back, like since HeadStart. I think it's just a matter of you have finite time. And the more stratified again, like the less focused you can be on things. So like you said, amazing experience. Like that was one of those orgs where like if I didn't go through it freshman fall, like it's one of those where you, like if you get in freshman fall, like it sets you up for real. And like we go through a pretty tough curriculum, like you work a ton. And it's like it's just everything played a sort of role. Like Texas blockchain was a pretty good way to just meet people in space in Austin. Austin has like an emerging startup blockchain techie scene. So yeah, I mean every org's played his role, and super grateful to be a part of all those opportunities.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Doing big things out there making moves, man.
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to get like you.
Not at all, man. Not at all. I appreciate it. Yeah, moving away from that though. I follow you on IG, right? So sometimes I see seems like Dani Moon is like the homie, I guess, the R&B singer. I always see you posted up with her. So tell me about how that relationship started.
Yeah, it's this is very funny, but yeah, yeah, I mean, I guess it started when I forgot what they called it, but it was a period in time where like everyone on Good Music was dropping an album. I think it was in 2018 or 2019. I think it was in 2018, high school. So I don't remember the order, but like I know Pusha T dropped an album, it was Daytona. I know Kanye dropped, I think that's when he dropped Yay. I know Tiana Taylor dropped an album. I'm not sure what it exactly was, but it was like weeks and it was just like back to back to back. And then Shake was on Pusha T's album. He's on a song called Santeria. But like I heard the vocals, like it's like you just have to hear the vocals on Santeria. And then she was like singing on the hook in Spanish, like "Shut I'm like, wow, like who is this? So yeah, for me after those vocals, I was like, who is this? So I look her up. I'm like, okay. I started listening to my other stuff, and I think the following week is when Kanye dropped Yay. And then on Violent Crimes, you hear that falling, dreaming, talking. I'm like, whoa, who is this? And then you keep going, you hear Ghost Town. I put my head on the stove. I'm like, chill, like you're tough. So yeah, I mean, after that, I'm like, yeah, this person is very talented. I started listening to her music probably yeah, around like 4 years ago. She had like a little tour in Houston. So I went to that. We didn't really have any like interaction. I was in high school. I didn't really know how concerts worked. I mean, I had school the next day probably, so like I had to rush to get home, etc. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that happened in high school. I didn't really get to meet her or anything. And then she did like a little show in Austin. Am I missing anything? I don't think there's anything in between. Yeah, she did a little show in Austin before Austin City Limits, which is a festival, big one in Austin, similar to Made in America. And she did like a mini show. Then after the show, I saw like one of the guys in her crew, Malik. So like I there's a song called like 070 Freestyle. So like 070, you can think of it like a little collective. So there's like other people in it. So I remember Malik from that as well as I followed him on Instagram. So I saw him. And then like Malik was supposed to kind of like, check if the scene was clear before Shay came. And then like me and Malik were just chopping it up. Like there's some other people from 070 that weren't there. I was like, well, where's Ralphie, etc. And then we were just chopping it up about Shake, about music, about 070. And the next thing I know, Shake comes. I'm like, oh wow. I'm just chilling here with like my favorite artist. Like this is strange. And then, yeah, I mean, we talked for like probably like 20 minutes, 15 minutes that day. And it's like you just after like 10 minutes, you just realize like this person's a normal human being like everyone else. And I think that's one thing that like I think makes me a unique fan is like whenever I see Shake, it's not like I'm not yelling, I'm not crying. Like I'm just like, yo, what's good, Daddy? Like, how are you? Like, what's up, Malik? Like it's just chill. Cause it's like you don't
Mm.
want to be around people that are gonna start going crazy because now it's weird, right? So I would say like that's probably one thing there. But yeah, and then she did Austin City Limits, so there's like 2 weekends. And I like went to both of them. I didn't get to like meet her again during ACL, which is like the name of the festival, but like I did get to go on stage. So like it was like we were like 10 or 20 people that were on stage. So we performed like a song together here, which was pretty fun. And then I got to see like more people from her crew like again and again after that. And then she went on tour again for her new album. It's called You Can't Kill Me. And I went to the Dallas show. And then I didn't meet her there, but like I met more people again from her crew. And then one of her people on her team, like, bro, I love your energy. Like, are you coming to the next show? Like, we gotta lock you in with Shake or whatever. And then I'm like, yeah, because I was gonna go to Houston. It's like that's where I'm from. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. And then before the Houston show, I get there, I park my car, and then I'm like walking, and then like she's just getting out of the tour bus with Malik again. So I'm like, I didn't even see her. Like my friend that I was at the show with saw her, but I saw Malik. Like I recognized Malik. He's like pretty tall. It's pretty hard to miss. So I was like, yo, Malik. And then like Malik turns around, and then Shake turns around. So she's like, yo, my God. And like she remembered me
Yeah.
because like ACL, a bunch of the other shows and stuff. So and then the Austin and Dallas, I mean the Houston and Dallas are like back to back days. So yeah, it's pretty hard to like forget somebody if like you just saw them. As well as you remember I was at the Austin stuff. So yeah, I mean now it's pretty chill. She's actually performing She's on the tour with Kid Cudi. I don't know if they're doing Philly, but I assume they are.
Oh wow.
But she's performing in Austin on Wednesday, so 2 days from now. So yeah, I should be there. It'll be a cool opportunity to like see her in a much bigger sort of space. Is like she's opening for Cudi, so you can imagine it's a lot larger audience than just Shake performing. But yeah, I would definitely say it was very random. But I mean, I love the music so much. Like you can tell, like with me at the concerts, like I'm not myself when I'm at a Shake concert. But I think the big thing is really just like the humanization factor. I think like you don't want to be around people that treat you like God. Like you want to be around people
Yeah.
where you can just talk and just be normal. So I think that's been something that like ended up playing out well. But it's not like I mean I didn't plan for this or anything. Like I didn't plan to like be cool with Shig, but it's like I don't know. I love the music and I realized that she's just a normal person like the rest of us.
Yeah. Crazy story. It's that's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
dope.
weird because like yeah, like a lot of my friends they're like, yeah, you kind of indirectly know Kanye. I'm like, I guess that's the way you can put it. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I think it just shows like people just want to feel like humans and
Yeah.
treat it normal.
Yeah. And I like your approach, like not fangirling when you saw her, just being normal. That's a great
Yeah.
strategy for
No,
sure.
it's funny too because when I saw her in Houston, was like the most recent time I saw her. Like I didn't even have like my phone out. Like we were just talking, like we were talking about songs, like we were talking about how, like the album, like some changes, some production stuff. And then she's like, "Yo, we need to get an updated picture." I'm like, "Wow, like that's crazy." So
Oh,
I literally, so it's just like the humanization factor really plays a role, right? Like you don't want people like their phone just in their hand all over your face, like, "Oh my god, it's all time no shade." Like that's annoying. So yeah, it's like it's a good relationship, man. I'm grateful. She's great. Love the music.
yeah, that's cool. Really cool to hear. Yeah, moving away from that, we have the Oluswole Bowl, which is a part of the podcast where we ask you some off-the-cuff questions. So the first thing is, what is something you're not good at that you wish you could do well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a lot of answers, but I would say like just coding and being technical. I think like even just through like HeadStart in random ways, there's just been a lot of opportunities where like code and software could help a lot. So like on for example, one of our people on our exec team, like they were able to like write a script that sent like a DM to everyone in our Slack. And it's like, I'm sure that's not even hard, but it's like that's so useful because like
Yeah.
a lot of people might not read the announcement, but if you get a DM to you, like you're gonna read it, and you're gonna like it's personal, right? It's more personal, right?
Mm,
Just like little things like that. I mean, when we were building out our website, like I didn't even know the first thing about building out a website. I didn't know anything about like SEO, like how do you get to the top of the Google page rankings, etc. So yeah, I think like just more technical skills would have been like pretty helpful. But I do think like the good thing about technical skills, you can just learn them by doing stuff. So like I can't really code, but I mean I know a little bit of SQL, and a little bit of Python now. I know a lot about SEO now. I know a lot about like random marketing stuff now. So yeah, I've been able to like pick up technical skills in very miscellaneous ways, but I do wish like I wish I majored in like computer science and math or something. Because I think those hard skills beat like theoretical finance skills, as well as like you can just learn finance on your own.
I like that answer. And secondly, would you put this one's a bit controversial, depending on who you ask, but would you put pineapple on pizza?
I think like definitely, but for me, like this is right. I think this might take it gets a little bit more controversial. So for me, I like pineapple on barbecue pizza. So I don't really like pineapple on like on like regular pizza because like for me it's like a little bit weird because it's like it just doesn't really fit the sort of the whatever the red sauce is, tomato sauce. But like on barbecue pizza, it's like a sweet and tangy because the barbecue is sweet and tangy, and then so is the pineapple. So for me, like in high school, when my friends put me on, it's like barbecue pizza, pineapple, and beef as the toppings. Like that'll get you right. But I don't put pineapple on like regular pizza though.
Mm. Honestly, I think both. I don't think that's a hot take. I think both work because of the sweet and savory mix. It works with
Exactly.
both of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But some people are like strictly against pineapple on pizza, and I'm like, that's odd behavior. Like, no, it actually works.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because this is random, but this connects like a Naval Ravikant podcast I was listening to. I don't know if you know him, but it's just like whenever you see different worlds collide, you just don't want it to be. But like oftentimes they can coexist in peace. So it's like a fruit or on a pizza, like why? But like
Yeah,
they can coexist, like it works.
yeah, for sure. I totally agree. And then, lastly, how would you summarize your life in one sentence so far?
Wow, interesting question. I think I would say a mix of hard work and divine employment. I think like a lot of things are have been due to things I couldn't control. Like if I wasn't in America, like life would be so different. If I wasn't born to like college educated people, life would be so different. If I didn't have like a good family, life would be so different. My parents weren't strict, life would be so different, etc. So like there were a lot of things that were like out of my control that like now looking back, I'm super grateful for. And then like on my end, like I've worked pretty hard. Like I've tried my best. So yeah, I would say that.
That's a great instant response right there. I like that. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the podcast, man. Like that wraps up the episode for today. So yeah.
Not for sure. Appreciate you having me on. Not sure when this is going to be uploaded, but our Head Start applications close on the 31st. So very soon. I don't think it'll make it probably, but I would recommend for the sort of students that are listening to this, if you're interested in being a part of the program, whether as a mentor or as a fellow, be sure to like follow us on LinkedIn, HeadStart Fellowship. Our website is headstartfellowship.com. Our Instagram is HeadStart Fellowship. So you can get more updates there, as well as like I'm always happy to help out with people. My mentors have been like a big role in my achievements thus far. Like if you have any general questions, whether it's about Head Start or about like life, professional stuff, feel free to always reach out. My email is oba@utexas.edu. So that's pretty easy to spell, pretty hard to miss. And then you can always add me on LinkedIn. It's just my full name, Obafemi Ajayi, Obafemi Ajayi. Yeah, happy to be a resource and super grateful to be on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm gonna put the link to all the Head Start Fellowship stuff in the
Okay,
bio. So if you
sounds good.
guys are listening to this, watching this, go to the description, tap in with Head Start Fellowship, let your friends know about it. It's a great initiative. This man Oba is going places, so I'm excited to see where you go.
Chill. One thing we say in Head Start is we're all gonna make it. Wag me. So it's not just me. We're all gonna make it. We're all gonna make it. Wag me.
Yes, sir. 100%, man. 100%. I like that motto. Um, Oluswole is on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're on TikTok. So, Corvette, all that. Thank you guys for listening and peace.
Take care, everyone.